experiencing open exhaust on a 1970 Mercedes-Benz 250 that kind of runs like crap. This was not by design, but it happened. That's a hill. And unfortunately, this car is gutless at the best of times. It also isn't at its best right now. So that does not help. However, if you're into incredibly loud exhaust systems, you literally cannot get better than this. It is open headers. There is literally no exhaust from the headers. So all we have is this nice explodey roar. Now it's honestly not too bad once you get to like 65 or 70. But until you get there, it is painful. See now right there, 60 miles per hour on a downhill, not too bad. That you can live with. But anywhere from about 0 to, I don't know, 55 or so, sucks. Especially if you're stuck going 45 up a hill or some such thing. Because then it just happens to resonate with your eardrums almost perfectly, to the point where you can't hear a goddamn thing. However, my favorite part is this. Grumbly, grumbly, grumbly. Plus, I can give some of these Harleys a fucking run for their money on being loud pieces of shit. Only mine costs $500 and I don't have to pretend I'm a badass and be 45 years old at the same time. And I feel like I will regret that when I turn 45. The hardest part of this whole thing is putting it in neutral and keeping it alive at a stop sign. It's not exactly running 100% as I mentioned. So yeah, this is what it sounds like to drive an old Mercedes that runs for shit and has absolutely no exhaust. Open headers, fam. And now we'll experience it from a stop sign. Assuming all goes well. Dear God. So it's not fast at the best of times, and it's certainly not exactly quick now. So I kind of have to wait for literally nobody to be in sight before I try to get this thing going. Because sometimes it dies. Usually it doesn't if I rev it up high enough and then drop it into gear, which is also healthy. But nobody said a $500 car that you've neglected for the last 5 or 6 years would be healthy. Oh, here we go. It's fogging. Okay, we can do it. This is pedal to the metal, boys and girls. And it's short shifted into third. All right, now we got some speed. Now we got some speed. There we go. Oh, we are flying now. Hey, all things considered, not too bad. So I feel like at this point I owe you a little bit of a backstory. I believe I've owned this car for 6 or 5 or 7 years. 6, give or take a year. Originally, I bought this for $500 from a very nice man in Partyville. And I planned to use it as kind of like a college car. Which, yeah, I was young and dumb, and I still am. So here I am. Anyway, I bought it for $500, and admittedly, I neglected it for probably 2 or 3 years. Just kind of sat around while I never really did much with it. I had a stuck caliper, I fixed that. That was there when I bought it. But otherwise, really, I haven't done a whole lot. I replaced the shocks because I thought, you know, maybe they were blowing. Nah, it's just an old car. New shocks feel like they're blowing too. Only it's a little bit stiffer, I guess. But, you know. Anyway, paid $500 for it, maybe $500 worth of tires, parts, and then decided it would be a good idea to get it running the week before we took it on the Hot Rod Power Tour in 2015. 2015. Somehow, it made it all the way to Louisiana and back without breaking anything. I have no fucking clue. Your guess is as good as mine. Since that whole debacle, I think I've put in total about 8,000 miles. Maybe? I can't tell. That thing doesn't always work. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's not working now. Yeah, it does that. Anyway, probably about 8,000 miles. So, another thing you should know about driving old cars, it's not like new ones, obviously. But there's a couple key differences here. This car, you gotta pay attention to when you drive. You can't just get in, put it in drive, and, well, okay, I guess you can. But, you know, it's not like a new car, damn it. Let me see. Oh yeah, there's the exhaust. There's also the fact that you don't really change the oil so much as add it when oil leaks out. Honestly, I have not changed the filter since I got the car. Well, I mean, I changed it then, but I haven't since. It's fine, I just top it off every once in a while. What else? Steering. Steering is not exactly what you'd call precise or easy. There's a little bit of play here, as you can tell. So instead of really driving it, you kind of herd it down the road. Weird noises? Definitely, you know, a given. Sorry, had to pause for Our Holiness El Crackle. Anyway, there's a lot of noises you're gonna hear. Who fucking knows what they are, but it's a $1,000 car. Do you fucking care? Not really. Also, somehow I have managed to get about 25 miles per gallon in this car before, which, honestly, not too bad. But you will need premium gas. You try running this motherfucker on 87, you're gonna have a bad time. Carburetors. That's another one. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Well, that's unfortunate, eh? I guess now I just let the car die. But at least I can talk like a normal person. So anyway, carburetors, all sorts of fun. This one has a dual 2-barrel setup. Why? Because it's German, and Germans thought it was a good idea. Honestly, I understand. I see that it's supposed to make sense, but I just don't 100% know how. I mean, instead of rebuilding one carburetor, you have to rebuild 2. You want to tune it? You gotta tune 2! I don't know. Sounds nice though, right? So there's that. And no, this is not idling. That's another feature in old cars. This is my foot. My foot is the idle control. If I let this go, the car will die. You know why? Because it's German and it has 2 carburetors. And I don't know how the fuck that works. I have some books, repair books somewhere. I referenced them once or twice, and I set the carburetor up so that it ran. And you know what? It ran. So that's good enough. But if I take it to a Mercedes dealership, like I tried to once to ask them to tune it, and they gave me an outrageous quote, and I said, that's why I don't own new Mercedes. Yeah, if I took it there, they would probably freak out at me. Or at the very least, shake their heads sternly and, you know, be German and stuff. Assuming the service people are German. I've actually been impressed with this car, that said. I really expected this to be too, I don't know, expensive? Which parts are hard to find, parts are expensive, so you just kind of rig them back together and make it work. If you wanted a perfect daily driving car though, this is not your car. And if you wanted a collectible car, maybe go for an RL or something? I don't know. I don't think the 250 is really collectible, especially the 4-door. And this is the 2.5 liter inline 6, not even one that really has balls. So it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a lot of work, and you probably don't expect that, but you should. However, it's a fun, reliable car. And notice that I didn't say fun and reliable. I mean fun reliable. As in, it's not exactly reliable, but it's fun. So you kind of make it work. Oh, we can go. Do it, baby. Everybody's looking at me like I'm an asshole. And I am. I'm an incompetent mechanic. What can I say? I'm also a cheap ass, so kind of the worst of both worlds. Anyway, that's the experience of driving an old car. A 1970s Mercedes-Benz 250 4-door with a 2.5 liter and absolutely no exhaust. I kind of wish I had a 250C. I kind of wished I had exhaust. fucking love this car. Like I said, this is a fun, reliable car. You don't want to use this as your daily driver. It's great as a weekend car, and it's absolutely fantastic if you have friends like Jake here who will come and bail your stupid ass out when you break something. Like the third time your exhaust falls off and you're pretty much sure that maybe it's your fault because 3 times in a row seems like a good indicator that you fucking suck at exhaust. But anyway, oh my god, my blinker light was still on. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. This is not a car you want to drive every day, and if you do, you better have a safety net. AAA, or I use Hagerty Insurance, and they have like a little add-on that'll let you get a tow a year, or 2 tows or something. They have some sort of Service Plus program, which honestly I had on this car and I probably should have kept. But luckily I've got friends, car friends, people who understand that you don't always have the best of luck or the best mechanic skills. So if you're gonna have a car like this, especially one that you pulled out of a garage for $500 and only put a couple $100 worth of parts into and then let sit for a while and kind of neglected, and then rebuilt the carburetor 2 years ago and figured, fuck it, it's probably still fine, then, you know, just have another car to get you to work. Have another car for those things that you absolutely can't miss. This is not a car that you want to be taking your pregnant wife to the fucking hospital in, okay? This is the kind of car that you want to take out on the weekend, or to a car show, or maybe once a week when you're going to work. Or if you're a dumbass like me, 5 times a week until it craps out, and then you gotta call your boss, who's actually, you know, pretty nice about it and says, just work from home. Thank God I have a nice boss, but not everybody does. So please, please, please do not take my, my video here saying that I like the car as an endorsement to do this. It's a really fucking dumb idea. Especially if you're expected to be a goddamn responsible adult, which I more or less am. So yeah, that's the end of my rant with my caveats to having a fun, reliable car. Absolutely, everybody should drive a car like this. It just shouldn't be your only car. This car is fantastic to experience. The noise, well, yeah, maybe when it has exhaust on, the noise is a little bit friendlier, but the noise is fantastic. The carburetor, though I hate to work with it, gives you this grand direct connection. It's a direct linkage on this car, as with most carburetors, I'm assuming. Anyway, you get this direct linkage to the car that you just don't have with new cars that have a map sensor or a map sensor that have to get some information and plan out how fast it's gonna go, how much air it's gonna give you. You know? This car, you just crack that bad boy open and it works. You have an instant direct response. And you normally don't feel any lag in newer cars. I gotta give it to engineers, they've done well. But in my 2004 Mazda 3, which I absolutely love as well, when I come from driving this car to driving that car, I can absolutely tell that there's just that smidgen of a response delay between when I hit the gas and when it starts going. And yeah, I know it's a small 4-cylinder, it's not the best example, but it's not just the engine, some of that's the electronics, and you kind of cut that out. And then also with these, you have steering that's not numb. Yeah, you gotta hurt it, like I said, but you can hurt it, and you get a direct response from that as well. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is, this is a great, fun car. Just please, please, please don't use it as your only car.